The myth says the Spitfire saved Britain. The reality? The Hurricane did the killing. While the Spitfire dazzled in dogfights, the Hurricane tore German bombers from the sky in staggering numbers. More than any other weapon, it was this rugged, overlooked fighter that ensured Britain survived 1940. So why was it forgotten the moment victory was won? Welcome to Historical Digs. For today, we uncover the story of the Hawker Hurricane, Britain's unlikely savior. Written off as slower, clumsier, even obsolete, it nevertheless shot down more enemy aircraft than all of Britain's other air and ground defenses combined. Yet when the smoke cleared, the Hurricane was cast into the Spitfire's shadow. This is the story of the warplane that won the battle but lost its legacy. A modern mind in an old body. In the mid-1930s, the Royal Air Force was a study in contradiction. It was an institution hurtling towards a modern war, yet its frontline fighters were still open cockpit biplanes like the Hawker Fury. The Air Ministry knew this was untenable. They needed a fast monoplane with 8 wing-mounted machine guns. The call went out for a new generation of fighter, and 2 designers answered with 2 radically different philosophies. Supermarines R.J. Mitchell created the Spitfire, an elegant, all-metal masterpiece of stress-skin elliptical engineering. It was beautiful, advanced, and complex. Then there was Sidney Cam of Hawker Aircraft. Cam was a pragmatist. Instead of starting from a clean sheet, he took the proven design of Hawker's biplane fighters and evolved it. He envisioned a Fury monoplane, retaining the traditional Hawker construction method, a strong tubular steel frame covered in fabric. This wasn't a nostalgic choice. It was a stroke of genius. When the Spitfire's advanced metal skin required specialized tools and factory workers to produce and repair, Cam's Hurricane could be built and fixed on existing production lines by workers familiar with older methods. In a war that would be decided by attrition, the ability to build and repair aircraft quickly was a weapon in itself. Wrapped around this rugged frame was the future, a thick monoplane wing, retractable landing gear, and the beating heart of the new RAF, the 1,030 horsepower Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. This fusion of old and new made the Hurricane a formidable, if not revolutionary, machine. When the prototype, K5083, first flew on November 6, 1935, it easily topped 315 miles per hour. Its 8.303 Brownings could deliver 320 rounds in a 2-second burst, nearly 2,400 rounds in 15 seconds, creating a devastating cone of fire. It was a stable, sturdy gun platform. In December 1937, No. 111 Squadron at RAF Northolt became the first unit to trade in their biplanes for the new Hurricane Mark I. Pilots found it to be fast, powerful, and forgiving. It wasn't the nimble artist the Spitfire would be, but it was a heavyweight boxer, strong, reliable, and built to take a punch. This inherent toughness would soon be tested in the skies over France and, ultimately, in the desperate fight for Britain's survival. Before we continue with the Hurricane's story, make sure to like and subscribe to Historical Digs. Your support keeps history's forgotten warbirds flying, not in the skies, but in memory. The unsung victor of 1940. By the summer of 1940, the situation was dire. The British Expeditionary Force had been driven from the continent, and the Luftwaffe was assembling its forces to destroy the RAF and clear the way for invasion. The Battle of Britain had begun. At the start of the battle, RAF Fighter Command had more Hurricanes than Spitfires, roughly 32 squadrons of Hurricanes versus 19 of Spitfires. This numerical superiority dictated the strategy. As waves of German Dornier and Heinkel bombers crossed the Channel, the battle plan, devised by Air Chief Marshal Hugh Dowding, was often to send the Hurricanes to deal with the bombers, while the faster, higher-climbing Spitfires tangled with the escorting Bf-109 fighters. This division of labor played perfectly to the Hurricane's strengths. It was an exceptionally stable gun platform, allowing pilots to pour concentrated fire into the large, relatively slow-moving bombers. Its rugged construction meant it could absorb incredible amounts of damage from the bomber's defensive gunners and still bring its pilot home. There are countless accounts of Hurricanes landing with their fabric fuselages shredded and torn, yet with a pilot and critical systems intact. A Spitfire's stressed skin design made battle damage harder to repair quickly. On the other hand, ground crews found the Hurricanes far easier to repair, often patching bullet holes in the fabric overnight, ensuring a higher serviceability rate than their more advanced stablemates. The results speak for themselves. During the Battle of Britain, the Hawker Hurricane was officially credited with destroying more enemy aircraft than all other defenses, including the Spitfire, anti-aircraft guns, and barrage balloons combined. Of the approximately 2,700 German aircraft shot down, Hurricanes accounted for nearly 60% of the RAF's air-to-air victories. Squadrons flying the Hurricane became legends. The number 303 Polish Squadron, for example, claimed 126 victories in just 42 days, making it the highest-scoring squadron of the battle, all while flying the Hurricane Mark I. While the Spitfire became the icon, it was the Hurricane that did the bloody, essential work of breaking the bomber fleets, making the German invasion impossible. Britain owed its salvation not to the rapier, but to the humble, unbreakable club. The Flying Workhorse. The Battle of Britain secured the Hurricane's place in history, but it also marked the end of its supremacy as a pure air-to-air fighter. By 1942, the arrival of the formidable Focke-Wulf FW-190 meant that the Hurricane was dangerously outclassed in the skies over Europe. But Sidney Camp's practical design had another ace up its sleeve: versatility. The Hurricane's strong, simple airframe could be adapted for almost any role the war demanded. If it could no longer be a champion dogfighter, it would become the ultimate jack-of-all-trades. The transformation began with the Hurricane Mark II, equipped with a more powerful Merlin 20 engine. The Mark II-B, nicknamed the Hurry Bomber, could carry two 250 or 500-pound bombs under its wings, turning it into a potent fighter bomber for low-level attacks on enemy targets in France. The Mark II-C took this a step further, swapping its 8.303 machine guns for 4 deadly 20mm Hispano cannons. This version became a night intruder and ground attack aircraft, but the most radical evolution came in the deserts of North Africa with the Hurricane Mark II-D. Armed with two 40mm Vickers S guns, one under each wing, it became the Allies' premier tank buster. Dubbed the Flying Can Opener, these Hurricanes of squadrons like No. 6 Squadron wrought havoc on Rommel's panzer divisions. A single 40mm shell could tear through the inner top armor of a Panzer III or IV, and pilots developed deadly cab-rank tactics, circling overhead until called down by ground forces to eliminate a specific armored threat. The Hurricane's adaptability wasn't limited to land. The Sea Hurricane, equipped with catapult spools and an arrestor hook, became a vital protector of convoys. Early in the Battle of the Atlantic, converted Hurricanes, nicknamed Hurricats, were catapult-launched for merchant ships. These were one-way missions. After defending the convoy from long-range German bombers, the pilot had to ditch the plane in the freezing Atlantic and hope to be picked up. Later, the arrival of escort carriers allowed the Sea Hurricane to operate as a true naval fighter, providing crucial air cover for the convoys fighting their way to Britain and Russia. From the sands of El Alamein to the icy waters of the Arctic, the Hurricane had proven it could fight anywhere against anything. A legacy left in the shadows. As the war progressed, the Hurricane was gradually eclipsed by newer, more specialized aircraft. The mighty Hawker Typhoon, its spiritual successor, took over the ground attack role in Europe. The later marks of Spitfire became the RAF's premier interceptor, yet the Hurricane soldiered on. It was sent to fronts where its ruggedness was more important than its performance. In the dense jungles of Burma, its reliability and ability to operate from rough airstrips made it invaluable in supporting ground troops against the Japanese. The Soviet Union became one of the largest operators of the Hurricane, receiving almost 3,000 aircraft through Lend-Lease, where they were used for everything from escort duty to reconnaissance on the Eastern Front. By the end of the war, over 14,500 Hurricanes had been built. It had served in every major theater, from the opening shots in France to the final days in the Far East. So why does it remain the forgotten victor? The reasons are a mix of performance, aesthetics, and psychology. The Spitfire, with its beautiful elliptical wings and celebrated speed, simply captured the public's imagination in a way the more functional-looking Hurricane never could. The Spitfire continued to be developed into a world-class fighter throughout the war, constantly matching and often exceeding its German counterparts. The Hurricane, while adaptable, was an evolutionary dead end as a fighter by 1942. The Spitfire's legend was also cemented by post-war propaganda and its prominent role in air shows and films, becoming the visual shorthand for Britain's finest hour. The Hurricane was the dependable, slightly dowdy workhorse that got the job done and was then quietly put out to pasture. There was no controversy or failure, it was simply a tool whose time had passed. Its legacy is not one of glamour but of grim, vital necessity. It was the aircraft Britain had, in the numbers it needed, at the moment it was most desperate. The Spitfire may have won the glory, but it was the Hawker Hurricane that bore the heaviest load in winning the battle. So, was the Hurricane unfairly overlooked, or was it always destined to be a supporting actor in the epic of World War II? What do you think is the true legacy of this incredible workhorse? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, we'd love to hear your take. Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss the next historical dig. Until then, remember, history is full of hidden gems if you know where to dig.